Today I am going to be doing a discussion video on Allegiant by Veronica Roth. So this video is only for people who have read this book, or for people who like spoilers, because I'm going to be spoiling the crap out of it. So I figured a discussion video for this book would be better than a book review, because I feel like pretty much everyone has read this book anyway, and for anyone who hasn't, you should. So if you haven't, go read it now. If you haven't read Divergent or Insurgent, go read them, and then read Allegiant, and then come back and watch this video. If you watched my video about Twitter exploding and stuff, you would know that I was super excited to read this. I read Insurgent as soon as it came out, and so I had to wait like over a year and a half or however long to read this one. And I went out and bought it the day it came out. I was super excited, and then I read like 50 pages or something, and then Twitter exploded how everyone hated the ending, and I was not excited about reading it anymore, and I didn't want to read it anymore, and I stopped reading it for about a week. And then it took me about another week to finish it. Okay, so we'll start off by saying I didn't like it as much as the first two. I liked Divergent and Insurgent pretty much equally, and I loved them a lot. I thought they were both awesome. Allegiant was good. It was really, really good, but it wasn't the same as the first two. And Insurgent is really different from Divergent too, because Divergent is mostly just about the initiation, and Insurgent is all about, like, not the initiation. But this is like, it was paced differently. It was about completely different issues, and it wasn't even really about what I thought it was going to be about. And I went into Allegiant thinking I didn't need to reread Insurgent. I was like, no, I remember it. I know what's going to happen. They showed the video, and they're going to go outside the fence, and they're going to have to save the world because they're Divergent. But then, when they were explaining stuff, some of it, they were referring to things back to Insurgent and even Divergent that I didn't remember. I should have reread Insurgent, maybe even both of them, because some of the explanations, I felt like it was just so much information, and I felt like it was contradictory, and that they didn't really make much sense to me, and I was just like, this doesn't make any sense, oh my gosh, this doesn't fit, this doesn't work with the other stories. But if I reread the other two, it probably would have made a lot more sense. What I really, really liked about it was Four's perspective. It was lovely, first of all, because I love Four a lot. Four. I feel like it really brought him out as a person more. He was a much stronger character, which he was a strong character in the first two. Like, I loved him. But because we got to hear his thoughts and his input on things, and like where he was coming from when he was deciding certain things, it just made him feel like more of a person. And I felt bad for him. I felt so bad for him when he found out that he wasn't Divergent, and that they were saying that he was genetically damaged, and he believed them and thought that he was actually damaged because of it, and that he can't think properly because of it, and that Triss was Divergent, and so it kind of was like she's better than him in a way, and it made me feel bad. I felt so bad for him. Like, and I feel like if Four wasn't telling that side of the story and it was just Triss's side, I wouldn't have felt as bad for him. I might have maybe thought that he was being annoying about it, just because Triss kind of thought he was being annoying about it, so I only would have had Triss's thoughts. So that was really good that Four had his own perspectives, and I really, really, really liked Four's chapters a lot. I really loved that he was a part of it in that way. That was great, Veronica. Good job. Because the story is not exactly what I thought it was going to be about. Like, I thought they were actually going to have to, like, be fighting in some kind of war. So I was a little disappointed that it was just an experiment. Like, anytime it's just an experiment, like with Lost, how most things, it was just an experiment. Like, that's not a good explanation. You need better explanations. So because it was just an experiment, I felt like it was cheating a little bit to me, like, oh, well, it's easy to explain why anything's happening because people were just experimenting and they just wanted to see people do that. Ugh. The story was a little bit slower. It was definitely slower than the first two. There wasn't really any action at all. There was like 2 sections with action, like in the middle and at the end. At the same time, I liked the character development. I really liked the character development between like Triss and Four, and especially Four, and I liked that they were able to overcome their problems and come together, and that Triss was able to help Four realize that he wasn't damaged, even though everyone said that he was. Like Peter, how he took the memory serum because he didn't want to remember all the horrible crap that he did, and he didn't want to be a bad person anymore, but he didn't know how to become a decent person. And even after he forgot who he was and forgot everything that he did, some of his, like, jackass stuff still came back, and he was, because it doesn't erase who you are, it just erases what you did in your head, so he was still the same person. And so that's kind of cool, that that it doesn't erase your personality at all, so he was still the same guy after, which is, I mean, crappy because he's such a dick, but when everyone on Twitter was angry and they were all mad at the ending, and they thought that was the worst ending ever, and I was upset, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna kill Four, this is horrible, I don't want to read it anymore, because Four is my favorite person in the world, besides, you know, like my boyfriend and my nephew and my family. Four is my favorite fictional character. There we go. But then it wasn't Four who died, it was Triss, which I'm okay with that, really. I mean, can be annoying. She's not that great of a character. I mean, she's an awesome character for sure in the first book, because she's like badass and brave and yes, go Triss. But then she's kind of annoying after. Like in the second one, I thought she was really annoying, and I was like, oh my god, Triss, seriously. She wasn't really that annoying in Allegiant, but it's Triss. So I wasn't really that upset when she died. But also, this is what I thought. This is how I thought it was going to go down. When there were still, like, I still had 200 pages left. Probably, maybe even more than that. I thought that it was always going to be Triss's plan to go into the weapons lab. I thought she was always going to be the one to do it because she had a chance of living through the death serum. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like, they're going to all agree for Triss to go, and at the last minute, Four is going to push her out of the way, and he's going to do it instead, and he's going to die. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And I was kind of right, I just had the people wrong. So it was always Caleb's choice. It was always going to be Caleb going in, and then Triss at the last minute was like, no, I'm going to do it. And then, yeah, so I had a little bit of it correct, just the incorrect characters. So go me, kind of. I can see people being mad if they really liked Triss. Like, I'm not mad that she died, but I think that even if people are upset that she died because they liked her, they should just get over it. And not be mad at the author for making such a great series and killing off one of the greatest characters. Okay, first of all, people didn't get mad at John Green for killing off Augustus, did they? No, they didn't. Were people getting mad at Veronica Roth for killing Triss? First of all, Triss has no family left. Like, her parents died, she killed her friend, and her other friend is dying, and her brother betrayed her, and, is gonna die, or was supposed to die, and I feel like she kind of felt okay with it. Like, if she died, it wasn't the end of the world. It's not like she died, and boom, that was the end of the story, there you go, I didn't wrap this up at all, and Triss is dead, the end. It's not like it ended like that. Like, it was a good ending. It just, people die. People die in real life. If people don't die in every single book ending, then this... And I feel like if Triss went in there and survived the memory serum and everything went well, I feel like it just would have been too easy. It's too, oh, that was easy. No one was there to stop me. I survived the death serum that no one is able to survive, and there you go. Happy ending for everyone. It just kind of, it's cheating. Like, it's more realistic that what's-his-name was in there and shot her, and yeah. She saw her mom, which was nice, and then Four was sad, which was sad, and I'm gonna say I cried. I did cry, like in Four's little mini chapters when he was remembering her, and especially when he was remembering when she jumped off the building, and I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna find it and read it. When her body first hit the net, all I registered was a gray blur. I pulled her across it and her hand was small but warm, and then she stood before me, short and thin and plain, and in all ways unremarkable. Except that she had jumped first. The stiff had jumped first. Even I didn't jump first. Her eyes were so stern, so insistent. Beautiful. I cried when I read that the first time. Oh my god! 4, you're such a sweetheart. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you. You thought you were damaged, and now the girl who made you realize that you weren't damaged is dead. It's so awful. It is. It's sad, but it's not bad. It's sad, but it's not bad. She meant to make people sad, so guess what? Mission accomplished. There you go. There were some parts that I liked about it that I actually wrote down this time on my phone. Like just some lines and stuff that I liked, so I'm going to share those. It's like the landscape is an interrupted sentence, one side dangling in the air unfinished, and the other a completely different subject. But now I'm wondering if I need it anymore, if we ever really need these words, dauntless, divergent, allegiant, or if we can just be friends or lovers or siblings defined instead by the choices we make and the love and loyalty that binds us. And now that you're out, how does the world seem to you? He says. Mostly the same, I say. People are just divided by different things, fighting different wars. It's strange how time can make a place shrink, make its strangeness ordinary, and I just like that because it's so true. I wonder what it feels like to volunteer to forget everything. And then the last one that I liked. That's what love does when it's right. It makes you more than you were, more than you thought you could be. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the very, very ending, the last line. I was okay with the last line, but I really, really, really thought the last line was going to be brave. I didn't know who was going to say it to who and in what context, but I really wanted the last one to be brave. It was said closer to the end, but I really thought it would have been amazing if that was the way it ended. Because that's what the story's all about, like facing your, like overcoming your fears, and be brave, I feel like would have just been like the perfect ending line. I guess I'll give it 4 stars. It was really good, I did really enjoy it, I'm glad that I liked it. It wrapped up the series pretty well, and the ending didn't suck. It was a good ending. It was sad, but it was good. So there you go.